You know, nonprofits are spreading kindness during crisis down in southern Oregon following historic wildfires. The Almeda Fire devastated the towns of Phoenix and Talent, destroying hundreds of homes, many of which largely housed members of the Latinx community. Now, many are undocumented and they're now scared to ask for help.
Joining us this morning to share how his charter schools are stepping up to help them rise from the ashes, Tom Cole, the executive director of Kids Unlimited in Medford. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning.
So what are you guys doing here to help some of the wildfire victims?
Well, we had about 41 kids and families who were displaced as a result of the fire. And, we're providing everything from emergency shelters with trying to find places for families to live, hotels. We're paying vouchers for temporary assistance in living, but feeding kids and families every day with breakfast, lunch, dinner, meals that are cooked from scratch, as well as providing other essential items like toiletries and diapers and things for children and families that have been displaced. And also emergency childcare. So many of our kids now are in tough circumstances in terms of their living conditions. We've kind of transitioned some of them out of cars, but there's a lot of work to be done.
Yeah, we mentioned that there are a lot of people who are undocumented that were afraid to ask for help or to seek out help. Are they becoming less afraid? Are you hearing from more and more of them as they really do need this food and clothing?
Yeah, it's the community that was impacted the most, obviously, was one of our most vulnerable communities prior to the fire. Many families that were living in poverty conditions, families that had challenges that are pretty tough. And so, our organization has a reputation of equity and working with the Latinx community for 20 plus years. And so I do know that they trust us and they rely on us to assist them with discretion and confidence. But there's a climate that exists that, it's not very easy for them to access some of the federal resources that are beginning to come to our community. So there's a lot of uncertainty and obviously fears around who to ask and where to go. And so we've tried to be a conduit to brokering a lot of those kind of resources.
I would imagine that resource is so helpful for so many of these families. Tom, I'm curious, it's already been such a tumultuous school year. People didn't know what the classroom was going to look like this year. That puts a lot of stress on families, and now the wildfires. How are families holding up?
Well, a lot of our families are extremely resilient. They've overcome so much just to have the opportunity to have their children in public education here. And despite what continues to be hurdles, whether it be the economic conditions presented by COVID, which were crippling for many of these families, and now you couple that with a natural disaster, the spirit that they have about overcoming is really admirable. There's so much courage that exists in those communities, and we're honored to be able to connect and serve them. We always say our families are our families. We're one organization that's been committed to watching kids grow up, attain amazing goals, graduate from college, some that are now faculty members here at this school. So, it's tough times, but there's also a sense of helping folks lift up and do what we can to continue the journey.
Yeah, and it's not just your organization, but many that are helping the Latino communities down there as they recover from all this.
No, you're right. It is a collaboration. There are other groups that are doing that. We certainly are in a place where we could use the help. It's pretty daunting what has happened. There are over 350 children out of the Phoenix Talent School District that are now displaced, living in White City, which is another location that we've got a community center at. We're serving food and providing items of assistance. But, it's a tough time because rebuilding, Oregon in general has a crisis with affordable housing anyway. When that's decimated in a community that already has a shortage, the transition to finding homes is going to be a really tough one.
It certainly is. Well, Tom, thank you for all that you and your colleagues are doing, your efforts in helping out these wildfire victims and these families. And we appreciate your time this morning.
Yeah, thank you. And if anyone would like to help, please go to our website. It's kuoregon.org. There are opportunities for folks to be involved and help, and we appreciate the support of the Portland community and really appreciate the time this morning to share.
Absolutely, and we'll be sure to add that to the list of resources that we have at coin.com. So go click on this story. You'll see that link there if you want to donate to help in wildfire relief for all the folks out there watching. Thank you, Tom. Have a good one.